Habadi. Welcome to Kiy NY7, Spiritual Sunday. So for this one, we got the Penguin. I compare him to the Penguin. Rudy Giuliani has been pardoned this week by President Trump, President of America. Also, it was just breaking, like maybe literally a couple hours ago, that Marjorie Taylor Greene is pushing back at Trump. Trump called her a traitor, lunatic, all this stuff. So uh, these political parties have been having some breakups within them. Want to show that and some of the meaning behind it. Politically, Giuliani and Trump have been very much against Letitia James. So with him being pardoned, that adds to like kind of the political problems they've been having. So I'm gonna get into some of that too. So this is about let me change that. That's not my latest thumbnail. Politics when it gets personal. That's what I would say. Like this has been becoming. So I'm gonna show some clips on that, and then we'll in a second get right into that. And the THC ban. So did I get that? Yeah, that's something that's going on too. That a lot of people don't realize. The government has reopened, but it's also now allowed to impose the banning of most THC, which is marijuana, your hemps, and all that stuff. So, yeah, so I want to show some information we have on that and appreciate everyone that does come through live or replay. Much appreciated and welcome. Greetings, Habari. Welcome to Kiy NY7.
He is withdrawing his endorsement for one of his most steadfast backers in Congress. In a Truth Social post late last night, the president said he no longer supports Georgia Congresswoman Majorie Taylor Greene, calling her a, quote, ranting lunatic. This comes after Greene appeared on CBS Mornings Friday to discuss her support for a vote to release all of the files in the investigation of convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. The president has denied any knowledge of sexual abuse by Epstein, but this is the latest move to deflect attention away from himself. CBS News Justice correspondent Scott MacFarlane has more.
President Trump has been unable to shake the questions about his relationship with the convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, and is now trying to change the focus to others who were allegedly in Epstein's orbit.
This is a hoax put out by the Democrat, and a couple of few Republicans have gone along with it because they're weak and ineffective.
The president called for an investigation into 3 high-profile Democrats who he said had relationships with Epstein: former President Bill Clinton, former Treasury Secretary Larry Summers, and venture capitalist Reid Hoffman. All 3 men's names appear in newly released Epstein emails. Trump posted that these men spent large portions of their life with Epstein and on his island. Soon after, Attorney General Pam Bondi responded to the president on social media saying an official probe had begun. But there is still growing pushback inside the president's own party. Speaking to CBS Mornings, Georgia Republican Majorie Taylor Greene said the president has made a mistake opposing the release of the full Epstein case files.
Just being very honest with you, it's something that I don't understand. I think it's a huge miscalculation. And I truly just stand with the women, and I think they deserve to be the ones that we're fighting for.
With Greene and a handful of other Republicans supporting it, the U.S. House is poised to vote next week on a plan requiring the Department of Justice to release those files.
They can have whatever they want. They already do. I think they have 50,000 pages already.
A number of Epstein survivors sent a letter to Congress urging them to do so. The administration's handling of this investigation has been inconsistent all year. In February, the FBI said it would uncover any missing records. In July, the Department of Justice said they found no evidence of an Epstein client list or blackmail. And then on Friday, the Attorney General launched an investigation into Democrats, as recommended by the president. For CBS Saturday Morning, Scott McFarland.
Okay, again, greetings. Excuse me. Welcome to Kiy NY7. So what I was just showing was Trump coming at Marjorie Greene Taylor, and I want to show her what she just said because she hasn't been out. So till just maybe a couple hours ago. So she went on CNN. So I want to show what she has said on her part. Now, what I noticed is because basically this is all about loyalty at this point. Trump is very high on loyalty. This is about personal for Marjorie Taylor Greene. As everyone knows, she's been a ride or die for Trump since day one. His first election, she was just, I felt like she wasn't even listening to what was going on. She just knew that she was backing Trump. So she just was so strong on his side. But what I did notice was, and I'm sure other people have too, as soon as the heat started growing with the cutbacks on healthcare, that's what affected her. That's when she said, "Hey, my son and my daughter are calling me on the phone saying that this is unaffordable for them." As soon as it hit home is when she changed her mind, even though she's a Republican. So I just want to make that point. Like, this is personal politics, which is why I changed that in the thumbnail. Because first I was like, yeah, it is about loyalty, but I kind of like using little acronym, little ways like that. So it's personal politics. So I want to show the clip that just was aired just a little while ago. Also, like I said, the THC ban is going to be in effect. I'll show the exact month. It's going to be in effect as of 2026. People don't realize this. There's dispensaries that are going to have to shut down, etc. Because yes, the government is open, but along with these what would you call it? These stipulations comes a ban on THC. They're saying hemp, but that's your marijuana too. A lot of this ties in. They want it below 0.4%, and I'll show that. Also, what I meant to mention at the very beginning is there's more and more sightings of UFO activity, particularly in the southwestern hemisphere of America near South California. So please feel free to join in the chat. You're encouraged to do so. We're live. I'm Kai. Have y'all been hearing about these sightings and they just keep being near water? Also, there's proof that scientists do have footage of a base in the areas of the ocean near Southern California. So I'm going to show that too, along with some of the things that people are saying they're seeing. So we're just going to go to Marjorie Taylor, then we'll just kind of work our way through. We got the THC ban. Giuliani, the Penguin, has been pardoned. New York City is like, that's what we think of New York City. New York City just is so much like Gotham City in some ways. So that's why I kind of think of Batman, because I'm a Batman fan too. So it makes me think of that Gotham City, the Penguin, and just, a lot of like chaos going on in the city, a dark, dark city. All right, I'll get right to Marjorie's her remarks from just hours ago.
Majorie Taylor Greene, even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalist. It's the political breakup heard round the world. President Trump severing ties with at least one of his closest allies, declaring, "I am withdrawing my support and endorsement of Congresswoman Majorie Taylor Greene," even calling for primary challenges against his one-time loyalist and attacking her as, quote, "wacky," a ranting lunatic, a rhino, and a traitor. This is days before the House of Representatives is set to vote on releasing the Epstein files. It's a stunning breach between two MAGA leaders, one of whom is here with me now exclusively for her first interview since the president cut ties. Republican Congresswoman Majorie Taylor Greene of Georgia, thank you so much for being here. As you just heard, and I know you saw, the president says he's withdrawing support for you. Encouraging primary challengers. You were one of his biggest supporters. What do you think happened here?
Well, Dana, thank you for having me on, and that is true. I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected, And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files.
All right, like I said, this is when I first noticed that Majorie Taylor Greene was given pushback within the political Republican Party, is when she wanted to see what a lot of people were demanding. They said, we want to see these files. If you remember a couple months back, the Republicans said, well, we'll get into that. And they're like, well, we're trying to tell you there isn't much there is, but you know, this and that, this and that. She said, no, she joined them outside in the protest. The protest was pushing back against the Republicans, particularly they feel like Trump is covering up the Epstein files. So they were pushing back through protests. If you remember, there was no Republicans out there but Marjorie. That's it. And then when it came to healthcare, when she realized it was affecting her own family, that's when she really started seemed like she was making a turning her back on a lot of the political agenda that the Republican Party has been pushing recently.
Files, and I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
You said on X yesterday, quote, it's astonishing really how hard he's fighting to stop the Epstein files from coming out, and that it really makes you wonder what is in those files. Are you suggesting there's something in the Epstein files that President Trump does not want Americans to see?
Well, I think that's the part that has so many people confused, is that the women themselves that I have talked to have over and over again said that Donald Trump did nothing wrong. Quite a few of them even told me they voted for him. And those are the women I would like to see in the Oval Office with support. I would like to see all of the women there with support. I have no idea what's in the files. I can't even guess, but that is the questions everyone is asking, is why fight this so hard?
Well, before this blow up, you sort of alluded to this just now. You said you were confident the president wouldn't be implicated. Are you still confident of that?
I'm listening to the women. Those are the ones that are saying that he did nothing wrong. Virginia Giuffre even said under oath that Donald Trump did nothing wrong, and she wrote it in her book. So I'm continuing to listening to the women, and I think their voices should be the loudest.
The president said the reason that you have been critical of him is not necessarily Epstein, but because he pushed you not to run for the Senate or for governor in Georgia. How and when did he do that?
Well, that is absolutely not true. Actually, I never had a conversation at all with the president about running for Senate or running for Georgia. And those were decisions I came to on my own, that I don't want to have anything to do with the Senate. I think the past 2 months of the government shutdown should have shown America exactly why I would never want to be there. I think it's a very broken institution that serves the uniparty and doesn't serve the American people and how they vote. And I decided that I didn't want to run for governor this cycle either. I very much want to do the job that I'm in. Everyone else says I'm running for something, but all I want to do is serve Georgia's 14th district, and I'm very grateful for that opportunity.
So he said it pretty explicitly. Are you saying he's lying, or did he at least get that message to somebody on your political team instead?
I'm not sure. But I don't. That is untrue. What he said. I don't know if he's being fed wrong information. I honestly have no idea in that area, but it is absolutely factually not true. Nor have I called him, and White House logs would prove that. His own cell phone records would prove it. I have not been calling the president, but I did post messages that I had sent to him, and that was to protect, get involved. This is important. The American people want the Epstein files released. And, I've stood with the president. I have disagreed with him at times, Dana, and I'm allowed to do that. I think that's the most important thing we can do as Americans. And I'm urging my party. I've been putting massive pressure on my party and our speaker to pass the agenda that the American people vote for. That's the agenda that I fought for. Those are the campaign promises I made. And I can disagree with the president at times, particularly this past Monday on the Marines' 250th anniversary, when he honored the new Syrian president, who is an Al-Qaeda terrorist and was wanted by our government for years with a $10 million bounty up until March of this year. I very much am against that. I think that was very hurtful to the great men and women who served over in the Middle East and were sent there, and many of them that were killed and injured and live with PTSD to this day from fighting Al-Qaeda. So there's things I disagree with, and I'm allowed to do so.
Well, you mentioned the Syrian leader at the White House. You've also been critical of President Trump over foreign entanglements, H-1B visas. Now he's moving military assets towards Venezuela. I do want to play something that he said this week.
Before we get to that real quick, I didn't see this part either yet, so I'm watching in real time with y'all. And thanks for coming through. Appreciate it. And feel free to share your thoughts. We have some similar thoughts and some are different. I'm just still very surprised that Marjorie is still turning. I think maybe it's just the woman in her, a motherly thing, of a family thing because of the kids involved. She feels like, what about these women? So she never turned before. None of my recollection. So I think a lot of us are very surprised. Even though you are supposed to keep your promises, a lot of times these political parties just don't. And it's been like that on all sides. So I'm still surprised that she's so vocal, even though she disagrees, because there's a lot of Republicans that disagree with Trump, but they're too scared to admit it.
Don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what MAGA wants better than anybody else, and MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Do you agree? Do you think he represents the MAGA movement as he once did?
Well, what the American people voted for with MAGA was to put the American people first and stop sending foreign aid and stop being involved in foreign wars. They very much deserve to be put first. Cost of living is far too high. Health insurance is completely out of control. And those are two issues I've been very vocal on for months and months now, long before Republicans were shocked when those big losses came on this past Tuesday's election. So I think that the American people deserve to be put first. That's what Make America Great Again meant to me. And I think that President Trump can do that if he refocuses his effort. And I think that's what I want to see. I think that's what the country wants to see. Even if he's attacking me, I do want him to be successful for the American people.
So sounds like you're saying that he is not representing the MAGA movement that he started right now.
I can say that promoting H-1B visas to replace American jobs, bringing in 600,000 Chinese students to replace American students' opportunities in American colleges and universities, those are not America First positions. And continuing to really travel all over the world doesn't help Americans back at home. I really, and I said this to him, and I will say it out loud, I would love to see Air Force One be parked and stay home, and there be nothing but a constant focus in the White House on a domestic agenda that helps the American people once and for all.
Congresswoman, you posted on X that President Trump is, with his comments, fueling a, quote, hotbed of threats against you. Obviously, any threats to your safety are completely unacceptable. But we have seen these kinds of attacks or criticism from the president at other people. It's not new. And with respect, I haven't heard you speak out about it until it was directed at you.
Dana, I think that's fair criticism. And I would like to say humbly, I'm sorry for taking part in the toxic politics. It's very bad for our country. And it's been something I've thought about a lot, especially since Charlie Kirk was assassinated, is that I'm only responsible for myself and my own words and actions. And I am committed, and I've been working on this a lot lately, to put down the knives in politics. I really just want to see people be kind to one another, and we need to figure out a new path forward that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
I agree, and I'm very shocked that she's so vocal. And I guess when she's going, she's just going with it. Marjorie, Senator Marjorie. Thankful to the subscribers. Old ones are those that are returning. I'm almost at 3K. Please consider to subscribe. Hit like sometimes. Come visit the channel. I talk a lot of things to do with the community, mostly things to do with astros, mostly astronomy, and things that have to do with sometimes with our intimate relations, things like that. So if you're interested in things like that, hope to see you back. So I had to do my plug.
You know, and many people, that is focused on the American people, because as Americans, no matter what side of the aisle we're on, we have far more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
And we need to be able to respect each other with our disagreements.
So just to put a button on this, you regret the things that you have said and posted in the past, the Facebook post that was taken down of you in 2020 holding a gun alongside the squad, encouraging people to go on the offense against the socialists, liking a tweet of somebody calling for the execution of Nancy Pelosi and former President Obama. Just examples.
Well, Dana, as you know, and many people know, I addressed that back in 2021. And of course, I never want to cause any harm or anything bad for anyone. So that was addressed back then, and okay. I very much stand by my words I said then, and I stand by my words today. I think America needs to come together and end all the toxic, dangerous rhetoric and divide. And I'm leading the way with my own example, and I hope that President Trump can do the same.
Okay, so on that, I do want to ask you about something you posted just yesterday on X. You questioned who and what country is putting so much pressure on Trump to keep the Epstein files hidden. And you included a picture about donations from pro-Israel lobbying group AIPAC. What are you trying to say there?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it's the question that many Americans are asking, especially when we saw information recently come out in these emails that the Oversight Committee that I serve on has released. And we saw Jeffrey Epstein with ties to Ehud Barak. We saw him making business deals with them, also business deals that involved the Israeli government, and seems to have led into their intel agencies. And I think the right question is to ask is, was Jeffrey Epstein working for Israel? And I'm proud to say I don't take money from AIPAC. I don't take money from any special group of people. I'm just representing my district and the American people. And so that's what I was referring to.
I just want to be clear. Are you saying Israel is pushing the president of the United States to cover up the Epstein files? And what evidence do you have that that is the case?
I simply just asked out loud, is there a foreign government? And it could be any foreign government, but is a foreign government pushing to keep this covered up? Because people just don't understand the big fight against.
Well, you had
releasing these
AIPAC
files.
up there. It was pretty clear which government you were talking about.
That I'm questioning that government in particular and questioning any other foreign government.
Okay, when you're talking about lowering the rhetoric, which is important for everybody to hear from you and all of our elected officials, but there is some concern, a lot of concern among Republicans about the rise of anti-Semitic hard-right figures in your movement, especially after Tucker Carlson hosted white nationalist Nick Fuentes on his podcast, didn't question Fuentes about his vile language or views. You did speak at a conference hosted by Fuentes back in 2022. You were criticized, and you said then that you didn't know about his views. Well, Fuentes talked to Carlson about that in the interview. Listen to what he said.
Well, again, with Marjorie, I was a friend of hers, and she spoke at my conference, and then the day after, she pretended like she didn't know me. She pretended like she didn't know me and lied and said I had no idea the conference I was speaking at. She knew exactly what it was.
What do you say to that?
Well, first of all, I defend every single person's free speech rights. I think that's incredibly important. So I don't apologize for that, and I don't believe in canceling people. And I think it's important for people like Tucker Carlson and yourself to interview everyone. I don't believe in trying to cancel someone by refusing to interview them and question them. And I did speak at his conference back in 2022. However, I don't know Nick Fuentes. He's someone I've never exchanged text messages with or phone calls, but I did speak at his conference. That was the first time I had met him that day, and that was it. But I did watch the interview. I watched the full interview with Tucker, and I admire him for interviewing many people.
All right, I just wanted. Greetings, I had to jump in. It says Kiy NY7. Please consider subscribing. Chat, you can hit like sometimes, it helps. I want to just jump in real quick too. Someone also mentioned in the chat that they're not trusting Marjorie at this point. She's been on The View. You said hanging with AOC. Are you referring to Alexandria Costa? I wasn't sure. But Alexandria feels she's doing a revenge tour. So for me, looking at what's going on, because I can look in the middle and just look. That's all I'm doing is looking at the facts. I'm still, again, surprised that Marjorie is so not just the ongoing pushback within her own political party that she's giving, but also her choices of platforms. Like you said, like when I saw her on The View, I was like, oh, that's interesting, because there's a lot of them, but there are platforms too that Trump is just not going to agree with a lot of his, like his members of his cabinet going and joining. So I think there's just a little more of this interview, and then I'm going to the other things that I do have scheduled for this live stream.
As well as exposing a
Congresswoman,
lot of powerful information.
I hear what you're
that he
saying.
does on his show.
I hear what you're saying about free speech. I mean, count me as guilty as a proponent of free speech. There's free speech, and then there is hate speech. And this is a man invited on a really prominent conservative show who said, even during that interview, he had a problem with, quote, organized Jewry, and he wasn't challenged on it. In the past, he has denied the Holocaust, called Adolf Hitler effing cool, talked about the fact that he thought Jim Crow was just fine, and on and on. So again, there's free speech, and then there's just hateful language and sentiments.
Well, Dana, again, I told you on this interview that I'm committed to ending the toxic politics, and I think I don't want to have anything to do with it. You should have Nick Fuentes on your show, and you could ask him questions about that. I myself am not anti-Semitic. I have never criticized the Jewish people or said anything about them in particular. I am critical of the government of Israel, and I can criticize any government I want to in the entire world, as well as our own. And a lot of the times I am criticizing our own government for failing the American people. And I think that needs to be the focus, and that's the most important thing people care about, is being able to afford groceries, housing, health insurance, and having a good quality of life.
Yeah, and I hear you saying you're not anti-Semitic, and you've said it before, and you know, some of the posts that you have put up, which you have apologized for, certainly have tropes in them that have been used historically against Jews. But I do want to end this conversation with a question to you, and that is, do you see a situation where you and President Trump can make up? And if not, do you think you have a future in the GOP?
Well, I certainly hope that we can make up. And there's, you know, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm a Christian, and one of the most important parts of our faith is forgiveness. And
yeah, forgiveness is a big part. That's not easy for a lot of people. I speak it for myself too. I'm funny with forgiving. No, sorry. I like doing by our higher power and everything, but I got to go by what's in me, or at least try to acquire it. Otherwise, I'd be fake. I'd be lying. I'm not big on that type of stuff. Forgiving, but you should, and move on. Again, feel free to subscribe. I'm at 2,946 subscribers, so I'm just shy of 54 subscribers to get to 3K. I'd appreciate it. Let's add some context to the now Fuentes versus Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Marjorie, you stupid bitch. It's on sight. I declare war on Marjorie Taylor Greene. Metaphorically, not personally. You stupid bitch. You're ugly. You wear highlights in your hair, and you're stupid. And we hate you.
Whoa.
Yo, get this. You see her tweet? Check, yo, watch this. She retweeted an article from Daily Beast trying to smear me. How low can this woman go? She's best friends with pedophile Jew Milo Yiannopoulos, who's living in her campaign house with his black husband. And now apparently he's writing her tweets. So, you know what? I was going to drop it. I was going to let it go. But now it's on sight.
And now it's on site, says Nick Fuentes. I'm not sure if he knows what that means.
Wow. Okay. So he said on site. That sounds urban to me. It's just interesting because I don't listen to him. I just get a gist that he's got hateful, controversial tongue. So I'm careful what my ear perceives. That's interesting because it reminds me too of Megyn Kelly. And then she was calling out the woman Hill, last name Hill. She's like, "Oh, you're ugly. You're ugly." Like, to call a woman ugly, first of all, is an ugly thing. To call someone ugly. So with me personally, you've really lost your edge if you use certain terminologies. He's like the B word. Oh, it's on site. It's funny how people like to use terms from the community, but they wish to be so far from certain communities. Y'all pick up on that, or y'all in denial about it? So I hope y'all like the truth, because that's what you're gonna get here unless someone else speaks sometimes. But wow, okay. So Marjorie, Nick said it's on site. Yeah. So Marjorie over there, she done stepped back to Trump. She let Trump know, you know what I'm saying? Stop lying on me. She's like, that's not how it happened. You know what I'm saying? I've had your back. I just don't have it right now. Trump is like, you're supposed to always have it, you know? But very bad things may happen. He don't let the Penguin pardon out. All right. You know they on Letitia James' ass anyway, right? So now that he's pardoned a bunch of people too. NBA young boy, he been hitting the stage ever since. The Christies. So those are some celebrities we know, but he's pardoned many others too. I have a list of those too. Maybe I'll show them another time or when we want to see him. So, it's just a lot of things going on in politics. But like I said from the beginning, it's personal. So we're seeing the personalness coming out of this whole thing. They say in politics, but it's like it's personal the way people are going to sway because it's tapping into your morale. It's tapping into who is it affecting? How much is this affecting not just you, but your family, your loved ones, all those type of things. That's what's affecting Marjorie. But I like when people take their gloves off and take the mask off because I like to see who you really are. How dirty do you want to fight? That's what I like to see. I don't know about y'all. But we'll wrap this up. There's just a little more of the interview from CNN, which was the one-on-one with Marjorie Taylor Greene, Congresswoman, on CNN.
Certainly hope that we can make up. And there's, again, I can only speak for myself. I'm a Christian, and one of the most important parts of our faith is forgiveness, and that's something I'm committed to. That's why I can easily come on your show that is watched all over the world.
My show need to be watched all over the world too. I break stuff down. Yo, somebody in the chat, I heard that something about a throat goat. Trump's Epstein did an email and asked somebody something, I forgot what it was. It said, did Trump give him some throat Bubba or something? They was like, is Bubba supposed to be Bill Clinton? And some kind of gay jokes or some kind of gayness going on. I don't know. But speaking of that, the latest of the emails of the Epstein files, I remember him saying that Trump spent many hours. They said Trump spent hours with the victim. That's all they kept saying. And they said him. So whoever that victim was that they're picking up on is a male. Nobody else picking up on that? Y'all didn't peep that? We could talk about that this week coming in. Because I'm like, y'all keep saying she. The wording says he. Hello? Okay. I wear glasses. My eyesight might be a little off. My hearing is okay. It ain't all that, but I mean, it's all right. I know what I heard. I know what I saw.
And I can say things I'm sorry for, and I can try to set an example of how I think we should move forward as Americans. And so, of course, on my end, I believe in that, and I certainly hope to see that happen.
Congresswoman Majorie Taylor Greene, I appreciate you coming on this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dana.
All right. Again, I'm Kiy NY7. I mostly do things to do with the community. Some things have to do with politics, and it does affect us. So I've been tapping into that too in more recent months. I talk about things to do with astros, things to do with astronomy, and then things to do with our intimacy, our relations that we have between people, which I feel is a very underrated topic because how people make us feel is how we tend to make other people feel and how we kind of go about life. So I like to talk about things to do with that too here on this channel. So I hope to see you back to consider subscribing, hit like. It is an open chat room. We're not looking for certain points of views. I'm just willing to hear your point of view. And I appreciate you allowing me to share mine. All right. The other part that I had of this live stream too is the THC ban. A lot of people don't realize a lot of marijuana and hemp shops are going to be closing down as of 2026. We get into that now. And also, people have been reporting sightings of UFOs near water. Now, I've been hearing this for some months now, but now it's been an increase, and I'm wondering how y'all feel about it. And please watch your language. I know we all adults here, but I like to use our big people words here, so that's really appreciated. Other than that, express yourself. Okay. All right. I'm going to share screen. So I just have some video footage and some articles that I want to share with y'all. So I'm doing much as I can to keep you guys up to date too, as I stay up on astronomy. But I study a lot of things with astronomy. But what I do is I break it down and try to show you guys things that would interest you most and try to develop an understanding of astronomy because a lot of things are going on and they are not going to tell us everything and they have not. So some things I find you're not going to see nowhere else. Let's go right here. Mysterious UFO spotted along U.S. coast. So this was late October, and I have some recent days of people reporting on things that they see. I don't know why the screen not coming up. They keep being near bodies of water, particularly in the southwestern area of America. So in the southern part of California is where these have been seen. Whether you think it has anything to do with the UFO or not, do you believe in science? Do you believe that there are researchers that have information that they've been holding on to? You see that we're getting more and more information on UFOs, UFO sightings, not just from people, civilians, but from actual FBI agents. As soon as the Trump administration came into office, they've been pushing to unseal documents for us to see that have to do with things that have been covered up for decades. Let's take a look here at this video. Also, what I'm about to show is there was it looked like a UFO. People don't understand what it was, but it was visible on Google Street View. It's no longer there, but there's a lot of people that witnessed it and captured it. And we still have a question. Why is it gone and what was it to begin with?
You don't even have to put in a street, just Jacksonville, Texas, and go to the street view, then pan around, and there it is. A thing that I don't know what it is. It looks like something from a low-budget 1950s flick.
And this is the bridge where Google Maps managed to capture an image no one can explain. Not even the people of Jacksonville.
Man, it's bright in Jacksonville. Anyway, the object, if it is an object, we're not saying it's an object, but it was shot right in front of the Landmark building at the 69 and 79 intersection, home of Sadler's Restaurant. And across the street, there's a Taco Bell. Maybe something was smelling lunch. Most people just said wow a lot.
Whoa, what is that?
Oh, wow.
Wow! What is it? I don't know what it is. Look at it.
Now, what is that? A car in the sky?
That is pretty amazing.
I don't know, it looked like a jellyfish.
But you guys haven't seen any UFOs?
Yes, sir.
No. Well, you have now.
Yeah, I have now. Great photography.
Yeah, that's something that was actually captured.
Yeah, it's something, all right.
I'm not sure why an unknown object over Jacksonville would be red. I looked up a dozen different cities and didn't find any similar anomalies. That must make Jacksonville special.
You see anything?
Not yet.
Keep looking. Keep looking.
We're looking.
I'm going to stand here for the rest of the day, though.
Yep.
Okay. Another thing that's interesting as I've been looking more into things of UFO sightings and things like that, there are different shapes. Some say triangular, and they tend to move in a certain way. The circular ones, UFOs, tend to move in a different type of way. But I've also seen they've had documentation that some of the UFOs look like jellyfish. So it's interesting that they pose it like this. It kind of reminds me of a birdie from a badminton game too. Looks just shaped just like it, but it's huge and it's in the sky and it's jellyfish-like. So these are things that I'm hearing a pattern of. Now, some people could make stuff up, of course, right? But when we have images, we have videos, and we have pictures surfacing, you know, I can't help but be open-minded to find out what's going on as I look up in our friendly skies anyway for things to do with astronomy. So that's one of the reasons I'm bringing this up, because I feel we should know. This right here ties more into exactly what I'm speaking on. The UFO spotted emerging from the Pacific Ocean, as expert insists this is not a glitch. Now, is this it? No. But this is just a picture of what a lot of us kind of imagine, because these are similar. This is a similar illustration of UFOs that we have seen. So I will say this and I will repeat it. Whenever you see a photo that has to do with UFOs or a lot of things that you're just not sure of, always look at where it comes from. Always look at the source. They will tell you it's an illustration. This is something that, you know, someone put together, they drew or whatever they did to get this image, right? Digitally or whatever. So always look at that. Whenever I come on here, I cite my source. Like we just watched that footage from CNN. This is MSN, but it clearly, you know, they're giving facts, but sometimes just to help poke your imagination, they do add illustrations. So some people feel NASA lies. I don't see NASA lying about anything. They just use illustrations, and then some footage is actual photos. So, you know, our governments and our astronomers, can only show what they have. So military personnel thinks that UFOs are emerging from underwater base off California. A top UFO expert has claimed, Jeremy Corbell, probes that unidentified craft sightings spoke out after a newly released video captured by USS Jackson showed tic-tac shaped craft emerging from the sea to buzz the combat ship. Once again, these are only UFO sightings, but there's something common that these UFO sightings keep seeming to have. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but a lot of times they happen to be around anything to do with military. They keep having to do with military bases, things like that, right? So I just find a lot of this peculiar and, just something to think about and consider what's going on, because there's distractions going on. Like, hey, look at this over here. Hey, look at this. Oh, look at this. It's like, no, I'm looking at everything. I'm going to look at it all. All right. So the part that does suck is that we don't have any actual footage. I haven't seen any actual pictures, things like that. But there are claims. And like I said, I'm going to show that right now, that the United States has had for some time now their eyes on a base at the bottom of California, where is it? I just had it pulled up too, but I'll pull it up in just a moment. I'll get y'all to this right now.
And what better way to get a thrill than trying to catch a glimpse of an alien? New data revealing Washington State is the best place to be to get a chance at seeing extraterrestrial life.
Here to break it down, former UK Ministry of Defense and UFO expert Nick Pope. Nick, Washington 1, Oregon 2, Pacific Northwest seems to be where these aliens like to go, but I'm sure there's a better reason. What is it?
Well, I think there are a lot of variables here, and I think it might have something to do with the sort of outdoorsy nature of those states up in the Northwest. Big, clear, open skies, a lot of people out hiking, sky watching. So more people out looking around at things, more things get seen.
Yeah, Nick, I think if someone said, I believe that aliens are walking around among us, I believe that there's UFOs in our airspace, a lot of people would say, you're crazy. What do you think?
Well, I think this subject has come out of the fringe and into the mainstream recently. I mean, we have hearings in Congress about this now. We have the newly formed task force on the declassification of federal secrets. They're going to be looking at UFOs. And of course, just very recently, the vice president made some fairly open-minded comments about this in a situation where this subject used to be an absolute third rail for politicians.
Yeah, J.D. Vance, literally to your point, coming out and saying, I have to, as vice president, help get to the bottom of this. I have to imagine that definitely removes the stigma about saying, hey, I saw something, I'm going to say something. Speaking of something, this could be something. Interstellar visitor 3I Atlas making a mysterious move toward the sun in what people are calling a cosmic turning point. Those people could have just been our producers, but I'm going to say it anyway. The expectation is that this thing should break up when it goes to the sun, because the sun, as we know, very, very hot. Things go near it, they break up. But if it remains intact and moves away from the sun, that could be a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. What do you think it's going to do, Nick?
Well, the simplest explanation is that it probably will turn out to be an interstellar comet. Hugely interesting in its own right, of course. But yeah, I'm watching this story very closely. If it does do anything really unusual and it proves to be technological, it will be the biggest story in history. But if nothing else, look, this has got everyone thinking about this as a possibility. And that ties in, as I say, with the fact that this whole subject is now viewed not as kind of conspiracy theory or science fiction, but as a serious defense and national security issue.
Yeah, there is a debate taking place right now within the scientific community over this thing, 3I Atlas. Some people say it's a comet. Other people think it's something else. They think it could be a spaceship. Why do some people think it's that?
Well, I think there are some unusual things about its speed, its trajectory, the fact that comets usually have a tail pointing away from the sun as they approach. This one had a sort of anti-tail. But, if we were sending a probe to another solar system, this is kind of probably exactly what we would do, a close flyby of the planets and then see what happens.
Ooh.
So, yeah, I'm watching very closely.
I think you said the key thing, though. If this story turns out to be not just a piece of space junk that's going to burn up and it turns into something, it will be the greatest story, biggest story of our lifetime. And Nick, we're sure to have you back.
All right, so they got into the Three Eye Atlas conversation, which I've mentioned in some of my previous live streams. It's something that some believe is a comet, and it's natural. Some believe it's artificial and created by possible aliens. Right now, it has passed the sun. We're passing the sun, so we're looking to get more footage of that from NASA, especially now that the government is back open. So there's some of us that have been just fascinated by the science of all this even before these things have happened. But we're seeing a lot of astronomical things going on during our lifetime like never before. So if you're interested in things like that and more to come, um, I plan to see you back on my channel. Again, I'm Kiy NY7, and I have different things like that here on my channel, where I don't just show videos, so I do go in depth on things on my own. I wanted to show this right here too to back up what I said. This is actual scientists that are talking about this too, not just random people saying, "Hey, I see glowing lights from the ocean, but I don't have no photos. I don't have." So, you know, so, a California resident described spotting a cathedral shaped craft vanishing beneath the waves in an instant. While popular forums like Reddit have been buzzing about it and things like that, underwater UFO base, military whistleblowers add fuel to this fire. Backing these claims are testimonies from military insiders. Congressman Tim Burchett recently revealed that a senior Navy admiral informed him of an unidentified object the size of a football field moving at hundreds of miles per hour underwater. Such behavior goes far beyond the capabilities of known human technology. So that's why these are all UFOs. That means it's an unidentified object. It doesn't mean it's alien. It just means we don't know what the heck it is. That's what that means. So for some time now, like I said, this picture here, this map, scientists have had this for a long time, for some decades now, but it's coming up now in conversation. And I'm bringing it up because I'm seeing a pattern in people saying, hey, we're seeing some activity down here in the water. So it's just interesting. I'm noticing too the color green. I'll remind you guys too that when meteors come into our through our solar system, they're usually a green light. People saw a green light coming off the Three Eye Atlas. First, it was red when it was coming into our orbit. Then, once it did orbit in our solar system, it's become green. So, it's possible that it could have been a meteorite that hit and it lit up green in certain areas. So that's just my scientific brain that does know about meteors and different colors, things like that, just as a possibility. So, finally, too, I want to get to the THC ban. I see some people in the chat already talking about it. Yeah, it's crazy because the farm bill made it legal and now it's becoming illegal again. People don't realize next year it's going to be some big changes to come. So, yeah, let me know what y'all think. Do you believe in UFOs? Do you believe that these are just lies? There's nothing in the sky, there's nothing in the waters. What are your thoughts on it? Are you open minded about some of these things you're hearing as they're increasing and as uh, top officials have been coming out to the Congress floor and speaking on it? Or the Senate floor, how do you say that? You know, so it's just interesting and something worth tapping into here. So we're going to go into the thing of the marijuana right here. U.S. Senate advances the bill to end government shutdown, but as you see here, it says impose national ban on hemp products that are above zero point 0.4 milligrams THC, which is very little. So there's a lot of people speaking, not a lot, some people, because a lot of people don't realize this yet, but y'all will know. People that get this know that that's going to be barely anything. So it's almost like the administration is saying, hey, we don't want y'all using that at all. But if you are, you're not going to really get no high off of it. You're not going to really have those effects. So they want to draw it from it. You're going to get people to not want to shop for it. They're still always going to be sold on the streets, legal or not. So that's why it's going to have a big effect on sales for these dispensaries. So some of them that are getting whiff of this, whiff of this smoke that they're blowing, a whiff of what's going on, they've been preparing. So the Senate's vote officially ends the debate on the bill through the closure motion. But I'm going to jump around so you just have the information you need. The proposal would effectively recriminalize, you see right here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but here we go, recriminalize a wide range of hemp-derived products by capping the total THC content to just 0.4 milligrams per product. a threshold that would outlaw most items currently sold in your gas stations, which is crazy, but they got them there too, I guess. All right. Convenience stores, online marketplaces. So hemp derived THC products are proliferated across US following the legalization of hemp via the 2018 Farm Bill. The measure advanced by the Senate. Now it says that law lowered hemp containing zero point 0.3 delta 9 THC on a dry weight basis. Yada yada yada, right? But it's some of this is still tapping into your cannabinoids, your marijuana itself. This isn't just like I remember they used to sell hemps. We used to just call them hemps. They was little wraps, and it would give you a little buzz. Sometime you could smoke it after you smoke you some weed or whatever you smoke that or marijuana. But it's going to be a big crackdown. And the problem with this is that we already have a problem with dispensaries because of policing dispensaries inappropriately. They don't know where the law draws the line on certain products being sold as it is. That's why you're seeing some busts that are legal, but we're also seeing a lot of busts that are illegal. They had a right to sell what they were selling. And the cops are getting frustrated. You can look it up. I've seen many reports. They said, we don't even want nothing to do with this. But then there's cops that say, I do want something to do with it. I want to make sure if they're going to sell it, that they're selling what they're supposed to sell. But the government has not made a clear understanding, total clearness of what exactly can be sold at these dispensaries and what can't. They did a good job with it, but there's still too many loopholes. And then that's when police get involved and confusion comes because some are actually incriminating cases and some aren't. So you can imagine what this is going to do to already a lot of confusion when it comes to marijuana sales and hemp sales. So there we go with the THC ban. I tapped into this too because I was like, what does THC stand for again? So I'm going to go for it. Tetrahydrocannabinol. Tetrahydrocannabinol. There we go. So we just say THC, but it's a crystalline compound that is the main active ingredient of cannabis. If I could get it out. Oh my gosh. But all right, there we go. So we got a lot going on. Oh, okay. I got some more subscribers. Thanks, y'all. I'm so close to 3K. So I've been doing my thing. I've been being patient, gathering information, and then like, all right, let me rock with these wavy algorithms. And I still have an urge. I always have an urge to push some information and kind of vibe with y'all. So that's what I like to do. So when we started out, I think I had 2,945 subscribers when we just started the live stream, and at least a couple of y'all listen. Actually, that's 4, huh? So almost 2,950. All right. Well, it's appreciated. Again, I talk about things here to do with the community, a lot of things that have to do with melanated people. Then some general topics that have more to do with astronomy too, some astrology. Like it's Scorpio season, y'all. Shout out to my fellow Scorpions out there. It's a good fun time for us too. Mars and Pluto are our planets, so we get it spicy for y'all. If y'all like that heat, you get it from Scorpio and that truth and loyalty. So yeah, consider subscribing, hit like when you come through, at least sometimes it helps and it's always appreciated. It's an open chat room, so always feel free to chime in. You're encouraged to do so. I get a little spicy at times too, but I'm never here to really hurt nobody. You'll always sense that from me. But anyone that doesn't respect my opinion and the facts that I bring and prove, I don't know what to tell you. So those people will fall by the wayside. I'm elevating my spirit, my energy, and I've been told to help other people do it as well. And I've been put here to help do that. And I want to. I signed up for it. So I hope y'all understand and can feel me on that. Doesn't matter what walk of life you come from. If you want to connect with the right energy, I'm one of them. I'm one of them. All right. So I thank y'all for spending some of your time with me on this Sunday. Some of y'all may be going through some things, but you still chose some time to come here. And I'm going to put that out in the atmosphere too, and hope that whatever you're going through is going to pass quickly so that happiness comes back into your life where it belongs. A lot of us deserve happiness, but just keep in mind too that happiness is more temporary. Joy lasts. I want joy. I have joy and peace in my life, and it's a great thing. If you want that too, you'll connect with me. You'll connect with me here on this channel. We're going to talk about serious things here on this channel of Kiy NY7, but I also want to enjoy things and have some fun with y'all too, because there be serious stuff going on, but I love to laugh. I'm I could get real serious and be one of the deepest people you'll meet, but I could also be one of the silliest people you could meet too. So, just balance that out, and I call it infotainment. So I know you'll find something here. All right. And I hope to see y'all back. So I appreciate y'all time that you've come here and shared with me and some of the chatting that you have done. Very much appreciated. Let me remove this from the screen. There we go. Yeah, so we'll see. We got a lot going on, y'all. We're gonna see. Watch when people really realize that this is a THC ban and how it's going to start affecting other products. Because again, it's gonna just make confusion come. All right. So the dispensary's already saying, well, wait a minute, what's going watch next year. Watch. I had a date in here too that I wanted to pull up with the article I thought because I told y'all that it affects the ban. Okay, I don't see it, but all right, that's fine. THC ban 2026. I still wanted to give y'all the exact date since they put it in there. Press the doctor. Legal United States. So it's going to outlaw most. Let me just show y'all this too before we go. So make sure y'all understand. Watch when people really start to pick up on what's going on. It's going to be crazy. That's when they're going to wake up like, oh, wait a minute, what? We're going to be ahead of them. THC ban in the new bill, right? So it says the Senate approved the measure on November 11th. Now, today is Sunday, November 16th. So this just occurred on November 11th in this table of contents. So you guys can see everything. So if you're interested, go to legalunitedstates.com. So that's where a lot of this is, what it proposes, and then they'll drop some dates on you, some more specifics. Okay. So even more provisions could take effect late 2026, but this is taking effect very soon and going into the year 2026, y'all. So we're gonna see. Don't be taking weed from people. They probably that's where the calm people at. Oh my bad, y'all ain't telling me that was in the way. I don't think. You know what I mean? That's what's been helping keep people calm. A lot of people. So the way things be going in the world, it's like you gotta let people have they weed if they're gonna have. If the weed's supposed to is gonna be let it go. If not, I mean, I don't know what you got going on. You got people like Nick Fuentes. You got people losing their minds left and right too. Candace, all these people. So some people maybe it don't matter. But all right, that's been about an hour. I appreciate y'all coming through and sharing your thoughts. Y'all said some funny things in chat too, made me laugh. And appreciate y'all coming through. And I'll have more for y'all coming in this week. We're just gonna look at some interesting facts and look at the ups and downs of things and what people got going on and and then some things that I talk about. A lot of things I talk about does have some kind of effect on us, but I like us to remember too that we have a lot of power. We have power in the tongue to change things in our own lives. We have power in our lives that other people just don't have. It doesn't matter if it's politics. It doesn't matter if it's political. It doesn't matter if it's even a pastor, because we got to make sure it's the right pastor. It's Sunday. Even though it don't matter what day it is, there's a lot going on spiritually. So we'll get back more into some of that spiritual things too that are, going on within the churches and stuff like that. So I've been seeing some stuff this week and I'm like, are you serious? Guys twerking and saying they're pastor, they used to be gay, they ain't gay no more. Just like, look, like just be honest, because in a minute y'all gonna get it now. Don't use the Lord's name in vain. Don't use my name in vain either. So why would somebody want you using the Lord's? So it's a lot, but we're going to get into it. I appreciate y'all coming through. Again, my name is Kiy NY7, and I appreciate y'all. All right. Peace. Greetings, Habari. Welcome to Kiy NY7.
Kiy NY7.